Okay, everybody, I'm here with Pat.
I was once out strolling one very hot summer's day, when I thought I'd lay myself down to rest in a big field.
Okay, everybody, I'm here with Pat Cox, a troubadour of some sort. I don't know what kind of troubadour you are, man.
I don't even know what that word means. Does that surprise you?
I got to ask you. You know, I asked you to come on, and then
Right.
You hesitated
A little bit.
because you didn't want to let a lot of these snakes out of the closet.
Yeah, because once they're out, they're out.
Are you ready to get them out, or?
I mean, I've never been one to shy away from it, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's true. So, the first thing we should talk about is your upcoming wedding.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting married, tying the knot. You sure
Yeah.
you're ready for that?
No?
No?
Is any guy?
Well, some people are. Some
Yeah, I don't know.
people aren't.
I think I am.
So how much was your cake that you're going to buy?
The cake?
Yeah, you said it was some kind
600?
of 600.
Yeah.
How much is this wedding going to cost you?
I think our budget was like 15.
1,000?
Yeah. But I think we're going to be over that.
Okay, so
Not by
how
much,
many
though.
people are going to attend this?
150, I think. I think is our
150?
number. Yeah.
So where are you going to have it?
Creeks Bend. It's a golf course in New Prague.
New Prague.
Yeah, New Prague.
I was just in Prague.
I know.
It was freaking fabulous.
Yeah? It looked old,
I
though.
think that New Prague is much newer than Old
Yeah,
Prague.
boy, I hope so.
I think so. Jeez.
I sure hope so.
So you, the one thing we have in common is we're both wrestlers.
That's true.
And I think that if you're a wrestler, in a lot of ways, you have a head start on other people in the world.
I think so.
Because you know that if even in bad times, you can pull through it.
Right, right. I mean, somebody that's never done the sport of wrestling doesn't understand the sport of wrestling, how much it actually entails.
Well, there's
Like, there's so much more than
pain, or just to train for
Right.
it takes so much.
we always looked forward to the matches and the tournaments because that was the easy part
right.
of our week.
Right.
Like, the practices that nobody sees are unbelievable.
They're hellacious.
Right. We were there at 3:30, 4:30 in the morning before school,
Yep. We
running.
did the same thing.
and then you'd go to class,
Yeah.
and you were expected to be awake.
So I
and
was
attentive.
I was a 185 pounder and a heavyweight. So I didn't really have to have the
You had to
same
watch the weight and
the
everything.
diet that you guys had. Just
Yeah.
These guys that I wrestled with, the smaller guys, like especially like the 138 to 155 pounders, they had to maintain the weight, and
Yeah.
it was bitch,
Yep.
you know, because you get all that workout done and you're starved.
Oh, yeah.
And you eat.
Right.
And wrestlers aren't, you know, they're kind of, in general, a different breed, if you ask me,
Yeah.
a person.
Definitely different.
Because they are not normal.
No,
Or
God.
we
no.
are not.
I don't know anybody that wrestled that's normal. That's turned out normal.
Well, you're not normal?
Hell no.
No?
I'm the farthest thing from normal.
So what did you do in, you went, after you got done with Eastview High School,
Right?
you went to college?
I went to Winona for a year. So it was like a club wrestling, but we wrestled like D3 schools.
Yeah, an interesting thing about that is that your wrestling partner was a female.
She was. She was ranked 3rd in Canada, like at her weight class. She
Really?
was insane.
Well, I mean, tell me about that. How is it to wrestle a girl?
Well, I did it in high school once. I had one match against a woman.
So you were pretty small.
I
Because
was.
There was no women at my weight class.
No, at least I hope not.
Well,
Well,
220.
220.
It could happen.
I wrestled at senior year I was 152,
Oh, that's not bad.
but then college I wrestled at 141. So I dropped to go to college
Why?
because I was behind our team captain at 149 in college, and there was a vacancy at 141.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
there was a guy there, but I
Good
knew
luck,
I
good
could
luck.
take that spot. So I
Yeah.
would cut 8, 9, 10 pounds a week.
During college?
Yeah,
I mean, that's like dorm food and
Yeah.
beer and
yeah, it wasn't easy.
no.
No.
So once you got done, you went there for a year.
Yep.
Where'd you go? Out to L.A.?
I
You look for stardom?
no, I don't know how LA became about. Like, so I met a girl in college online.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we were just like, we started dating, who's my ex now, obviously, not Cassie.
Right.
So we dated for a year or two, and she got this idea to become a cam model.
What's a cam model?
So, like, people will go on, like, websites like Chatterbait or I'm trying to think of what's My Free Cams,
Okay.
and they basically just jerk off for money,
Oh,
like
okay.
online. Like, people watch and pay for it.
Okay.
And she had this idea because she, like, didn't have an great education. She's like, I can make some killer money doing this.
And did she?
She did. She,
Wow.
like, I think one night she made.
I mean, I've heard of it, but
Right. I think one night she made like $600 in a matter of like 2 hours.
Really?
Like,
That's a lot of finger moving there, though. Man.
well, it didn't even like. It was maybe like 20
2
minutes of
hours?
that.
Oh.
The other time was just bullshitting and like convincing people to watch. Like, it was basically just what
The
we're
tease.
doing.
The tease.
Yeah.
2 hours at $600.
It was for.
And so, how did L.A. come into it? Because you could do that anywhere in the world, couldn't you?
You could. So we were. She met some friends through it, some girls that like. That also did it, and they were going to this adult convention, I guess. Wasn't like the AE AVN Awards, that one. It was just like a smaller one in LA.
Okay.
And there's this guy, famous porn. I say famous loosely because like people don't know who he is. He's not
Right.
like this big
Unless
name.
you're in the industry.
He's in everything, but like nobody knows who he is by name.
Just by his dick?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it sticks out, that's for sure.
Does it?
Yeah. So he found out we were going because he followed her on Twitter, my ex on Twitter, and I had my own Twitter account like with that's a special name,
Mm-hmm.
mainly just to like so I could, if I ever went on with her or something, it wasn't my name.
Well, you do have a perfect name for it.
Well, we didn't use that.
Oh,
I know, it was
okay.
too easy. It was
Yeah.
just too easy.
You do.
Even the guy that we went and met, he was like, God damn, I wish that wasn't your last name because
Yeah.
you could use that
You
perfectly.
That was, you can't use your real name.
No. I mean, there's some of them, like, a couple of them do, like, they use their middle name as their first name or something. Like, they just don't feel. Usually it's the guys that, and girls that make a bunch of money and don't care anymore.
Right.
So, he messaged her and said, hey, I see you're coming out to this convention. It's only a couple blocks from my studio. Because he had, like, a studio apartment in LA and his house, or, like, penthouse in downtown. And so she asked me, because she had never hooked up with another guy before, like, while we were dating. She was like, well, how would you feel about this? And I'm like, honestly, it doesn't seem to bug me that much, but I want to be there to, like, make me a little more comfortable, you know? Like, you'd think watching that would make you a little more uncomfortable, but for me, I didn't want to be away and not know what was happening.
All right. Well, so they hook up?
So we went, and we met this guy in his studio. Well, he had an assistant. We met her, and we're just bullshitting. She's like, "Oh yeah, Eric's on his way. Don't worry, he's running late." And this guy walks in. I'm like, "Holy fuck! I know this guy. I've seen this guy before." And that's when porn changed for my entire life, because you start meeting people in it, and they're friends of yours. No more porn for you.
Right.
So they start doing their thing. He did like once a day. He'd do like an hour, two 1-hour shows with some other cam model or another porn star.
Like shows like he would tape them? And...
No, it was live. It was like a cam show, but he would just take
okay. So
2 hours out of his day. Yeah. And so she was on it. They're doing their thing, and halfway they do the one, and then he gets off the camera, and she just kind of bullshits with everybody still watching while he's rejuvenating.
Yeah.
And he walks up to me, butt-ass naked, hard on and everything, and I'm sitting on a couch, and he's like 6'5", and he goes, "Oh, it's nice to meet you, and fucking dick right here." I'm like, well, I guess I'm into this now, like this grown-ass man.
So what happened after that?
So we went and did this, like, we went to the convention, met all these girls, and I'm like, I like this guy. He was cool. Like, I couldn't believe that this guy was, like, in porn. It was because growing up, I mean, we were both young kids. Porn was like,
Well, I mean, I'm older than you by far. So
Yeah, but-
porn for us was like Debbie Does
that's true.
Dallas
You had
and
like,
stuff like that.
you had like,
Where your beard was kind of like what they had down there.
oh god, that's
know what I mean?
disgusting.
But that's the way it
That-
was back then,
That's
man.
gross. Well, so when I always had a problem with porn when I was a kid. I'm not a sex addict or a porn addict, but I used to watch porn all the time as a kid.
Really?
My parents used to bust me all the time watching porn. So when I finally got to meet somebody in it, I'm like, this is cool. I felt
So,
comfortable there.
Did you partake in any of these cam videos and
I
stuff?
would do a couple with her, and then we did a couple for him, not with him, but like on his, like, set.
So you're basically a porn star.
I mean,
in a way,
No, I'm like a cam model, I guess. I did it a couple
Cam.
times,
a couple times.
but she did it more than I did, for sure.
And you guys both moved out to LA for this?
Well, we didn't really move there. We would go back and forth. So her job was much more flexible than mine at the time. So she would go for 2-3 weeks at a time,
Yeah.
and then on my days off, Eric would just fly me out. He'd be like, all right, just let me know when you're coming. I'll book you a flight.
Really?
So she'd go out there, and we became really close with him. And we were like his assistants for the cam show. We would go on sets with him if he'd work. We were just like good friends.
Just hung out with him.
Yeah, him and his wife, Vicky Chase was his wife at the time, and we all just kind of chilled.
So how did that work? But like he's banging every chick that on this cam thing.
Hey,
His
it worked
wife,
out
was
for
she
my-
banging too?
Oh yeah, Vicky became like a massive porn star.
Oh, she
like,
did?
She got really big.
And then, so I've never heard what was Eric's last name?
Eric John.
Eric John.
He's like, he's like in his 50s now.
Really?
He's still. He went from like just like the average looking guy to like the dad, like the dad figure now.
Oh,
like,
really?
lucky motherfucker.
So what? So tell me about now. Now, did you guys ever do like stuff on the set of a porn, or were
So,
you like a cameraman?
I
or
never
a
did.
light
I would
guy?
I'd run the camera for him on his cam show and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I did it, I think we had. I'm trying to think who we had on. I don't remember what her name was. But I was like moving around around everything, and he like stops it and he goes, "How do you know all this?" I was like, I've watched a lot of porn, I guess. He was like, "You're getting angles that like people don't realize."
Really?
I don't know. It just
Well, maybe
it
you
looked
missed
good.
your calling.
You
know.
Well, I don't know. I definitely don't.
Being an ALA
I definitely don't
isn't
miss it.
quite the same excitement.
I don't know.
as
I don't
being
miss it.
Cam model.
Because so Eric, the first year we were in it, like a couple months later in January, he texts us and he goes, "Hey, would you want to come and help us out in Vegas for the AVN Award show?"
Now, what is that?
So it's like the AVN and the AE Adult Entertainment Expo. It's like the biggest porn awards and expo. It's massive. Hard Rock, everything.
It's that in Vegas, probably, right?
Yeah, yep. The Hard Rock Casino and Hotel holds it.
Okay.
And so we went and helped. Like, we basically just got he paid for the hotel, paid for the flight. We just paid for food when we were there, and half the time we didn't pay for that. And
Yeah.
So the deal was he'd give us tickets to go to the award show. We would sit at the expo. We'd help him for a little bit. We'd go fuck off and party in the casino. It was basically a week.
And how old were you at this time?
24?
24?
Yeah, roughly.
And so much more.
Yeah, I
mean,
want to say
think of that.
23, 24.
Yeah.
I remember we'd spend 6-7 days in Vegas. We'd get all the after parties that people like would go pay a bunch of money to go into. We would just walk
walked
in. We'd walk the red
Did
carpet
you
with
crawl
him.
on the airplane on the way home? That you were so exhausted?
Dude, that hangover was horrible because you're basically drunk for 8 days straight. But like the problem was you have to be most of those guys and girls all want to be tested, and you can't just go to like your fucking doctor and get a STD test. You have to go in order to do anything in LA or Vegas. You have to go to those two specific places and get it tested, and they're like $150 a test,
Really?
like once a month.
Now, how many tests did you take?
6,
6?
roughly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's expensive.
So you were...
So before Vegas, we'd fly to LA. He'd buy us a ticket to go to LA.
did you taxi to
we'd
the
taxi us
doctor?
to the doctor, test, and then buy a ticket from there. We'd either ride with him to Vegas, or he'd pay for a flight depending on how he was getting there.
And how long did you do this?
3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went to 3 AVN award shows. Like, I've met a bunch of people that people wouldn't even imagine. Like, I met Dennis Rodman one year.
Really?
Yeah, he's the most disgusting human being other than... What's the old school porn dude? He's fat now and he's got...
The mustache?
Yeah, what's his name?
Oh, what is his name? I know, I can see him. He's the old Italian guy with the hair and chest.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name is. I don't know why.
Ron Jeremy.
That dude is the most
Ron
disgusting person
Jeremy.
on the planet.
Is he?
He's nice, but he's gross.
Now, how tall is he?
Not very tall.
Yeah, because he always...
Shorter than I am.
Women seem taller.
Believe it or
than
not, women in porn and men in porn are a lot shorter than you think.
Really?
So Eric is like one of the tallest.
Well,
And he's
6'5",
6'3",
very tall.
maybe not quite 6'5".
Okay.
But he's taller than me, but he's not freakishly tall.
Right.
Like, all the girls, tiny. Just tiny.
Huh.
And all the
Why
guys,
is that?
I don't know. But I'm starting to think maybe porn dicks aren't nearly as big as they think. I think they just look bigger because the guy's not as
Well,
big.
you would know. You've been on sets.
It's true.
I'm sure you've seen some big ones.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And I would rather not think about those. Terrifying, to be honest.
Really?
It's terrifying.
Well, why?
Nothing should ever be that big that's
Yeah.
attached. You know how heavy that would be?
No, I don't.
No.
But actually, I could probably say I know. I kind of know what it's like.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Kind of, but not really. You know.
Yeah.
So that's
That was a lot of
interesting.
fun. Like, you just
Now,
learned
did
a
your
lot.
mom and dad know you were involved in this?
So that's how we got out. So we were there we would do it a couple of years. We didn't live at home. I didn't live at home. We were on our own. And this one time I want to say it's 3rd year we were there. We were sitting in one of the
Is
hotels.
this when your mom was at a hotel room and had the porn on? And
No,
she goes,
no.
Oh, that's my
No,
little
no, no.
Patrick's cock.
No.
No?
I don't. So we
She
were.
didn't actually see it?
No. We were. So we went to. We were sitting in the hotel room, getting ready to go to the award show. I'm like suited up, half drunk, and I get a phone call from my mom. I'm like, she knows I'm out of town. She knows I'm in Vegas. I told her I was going to Vegas. I didn't tell her why. Just said I was going to Vegas for the week.
Okay.
Which wasn't abnormal. We'd done it a couple times already. And she calls me. She goes, "Where the fuck are you?" She totally figured it out.
How?
I don't know. I think she had a hunch.
How about one of your siblings telling her?
No, nobody knew.
Nobody.
We didn't tell anybody. It was just our own thing. And I lived with my brother at the time, and he didn't know. Kept it a secret. And I'm like, well, I can hear the tone. She clearly knows where the fuck I'm at. I'm not going to lie to her now.
At the Adult Entertainment Convention.
I was in the hotel getting ready to leave for this.
Okay, so then what happens?
So we're at that time we had just moved back for a month or so to my parents' place before we could go into the new place, and she kicked us out right on the phone. She's like, "You're not allowed back in this fucking house." I had like 2 weeks to get out, and my ex had no days. She was not allowed back in that house because my parents were pretty convinced that it was her fault.
Oh, of
And
course.
I mean, technically she started it, but I'm
you
like,
didn't put any brakes on it.
right, that's what I said. And I'm like, this is something I wanted to do. I just didn't think I'd ever have the opportunity, and the opportunity presented itself. Of course I'm going to jump all over it.
Yeah.
It was fun. I didn't go to college really. I did 1 year. Didn't party at all because I was a wrestler. And now my life is hanging out with porn stars. I wasn't the attractive kid in school. I got bullied all the time. And now I'm hanging out with guys that fuck for a living, and I'm hanging out with all these models. Like, that's a dream come true.
Well, let's take a sidetrack here. We'll come back to the porn
Oh,
because
boy.
that's interesting. But now, how are you bullied?
How was I
Yeah,
bullied?
you don't seem like a kid that would be bullied.
Not now. The porn changed me. My parents don't like to hear that, but it changed me. It added some. I had no confidence as a little kid,
Really?
none. And I started talking to a old friend from high school. I don't remember how I reconnected with her, but like just we were friends on Facebook. We were good high school friends, and she saw a picture of me. She's like, "God damn, you've changed. You don't look anything like you used to." I didn't care about my looks back then. I barely took a shower. Like, I was just not who I am today.
So, but kids bullied you?
Last
How
name
would
was
they
the big
bully?
one.
Oh,
Last
that's
name was the
shit.
big one. And I didn't have any confidence to boot. So, like, if somebody would make fun of my last name, that was a big deal to me, even though it was like, now it's like, fuck, it's funny, whatever.
Well, who cares?
But as a kid, it was like, I'm trying to fit in.
Be
I didn't-
cool.
My parents didn't have a lot of money. and everybody around me had decent amount of money. I didn't fit in anywhere.
Well, but
So wrestling was my escape.
Okay.
So I would go and I still technically do have some anger issues, so I used that to my advantage with wrestling. You're just such a bully. You were the kid that picked on me, I bet.
No, I didn't pick on people. I didn't care.
No.
I never picked on people. You can ask any of the people I grew up with.
No.
I never picked on people because it
It's
wasn't
dumb.
my gig. It
It's
was
dumb.
stupid.
It's
Yeah.
stupid.
It
I
is.
love the kids now. One of the guys that I'm in a fantasy football league with and good friends with was like the most popular kid in my high school. I love it. Like nobody cares after high school.
Well, yeah, I didn't really care in high school. So.
Well, see, I cared in high school.
Yeah, just
I
kinda-
cared too much.
I kind of did my own thing and had good friends and everything, but it was just I didn't care about popularity.
Yeah,
So
I
but,
guess that's where we're different.
yeah. I mean, for me, I mean, I wasn't into bullying kids and stuff
Right.
because it was just a waste. I was bigger than most kids
Right.
at that time, and you know what? Yeah, I got in fights, but they were guys with my size.
Right.
Going to opposing schools or
Yep.
you know. And today you look at that and go, who fucking cares about that too?
Yeah, right? Who cares what school you went to?
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
No.
So going back now, one of the things that interests me, and I was watching a commercial with you one time about the suicide thing,
Oh, yeah.
and I
Yeah.
said, have you ever thought for 1 minute about committing suicide? Because I haven't. I've never even thought about it.
Right.
And all of a sudden you came back to me with what kind of floored me.
Yeah.
That you had.
A couple
You
times.
had thought
Yep.
about it.
Yep. It's always in the back of my mind, unfortunately. Like, now it's more like a joke or like, oh, what if I did this? But yeah, at a time it was serious.
So you tried to commit suicide.
I was pretty close. I was able to talk myself out of it and immediately call my parents and say, hey, you need to put me in the hospital because something's not right. And that
so
was...
you went to the hospital for like suicide prevention?
Yeah,
Or did
so
they
I
put
was
you
in
like
for-
a straitjacket or anything
No,
like that? Or?
they just... I was 17. Like, I was a kid. I mean, everything in the world was wrong. Even though
Right.
now in hindsight, it's like, that wasn't that big of a deal. Who gives a fuck if she broke up with you? Who cares if you're late on homework? None of it mattered.
Right.
But I remember just feeling this panic, and I couldn't calm myself down. Because I'd had depression since I was like 12 is when I was originally diagnosed with depression and stuff. And it never really... It used to pop up, but I could just, I was on meds for it, and I would talk my way down. But that one time, it just kept going, and it wouldn't come back down.
Now, what is that? Because that's the part I don't
It's-
understand.
it's
Like a
this-
voice in the head? Is it?
Kind of. It's
Or
not
is it
really
just a
like you
feeling
actually
in the
hear
gut?
it. It's more of just like, do you ever get like anxious where like you just stuff starts piling up?
Rarely.
But you know that feeling where you just like, all right, I can't focus. There's just too much going on.
No.
Never?
No.
Well, that's the feeling. You get a bunch of that, but it doesn't go away. And sometimes it just kind of, eventually your brain just kind of says, or at least mine would whisper, hey, it might just be easier if you just stopped. Like, stop living is the only way it's going to go away.
Oh, really?
Nothing else
Wow.
is going to make it go away. And I remember doing that, and I was sitting in my car, and I'm like, all I'd have to do is turn the steering wheel left, and that's it. Because I was on 35. And that's all it would take. And I remember sitting there, and I pulled off the side of the road and said, all right, just go home, but you need to get this figured out. So I got home and immediately told my parents, all right, I need to go. Something's wrong.
So what did happen at the hospital? How do they treat that?
It was a lot of like, just like talking, kind of just opening up a little bit, because I was very quiet about how I've truly felt. Because my parents had gotten divorced. I'd seen therapists before, never really opened up to a lot of people. I think it's back to like the bullying thing. I cared too much what other people thought.
Right.
So even when my therapist would talk to me, I cared that I didn't like that she was thinking about me or he. Like, oh yeah, this person. I always thought this person is thinking that I'm crazy. But it's not true.
Well, maybe it was.
Oh, maybe.
You
A little
are
bit.
a little crazy.
A little bit.
A little bit.
But isn't that normal now?
Yeah, you're crazy is normal.
Yeah.
But going back to the therapist and stuff, I've never been to a therapist.
Ever?
Never. Never been
Yeah,
to
I've
a
seen a
therapist.
few.
I've never been to like a shrink or,
Yep.
because,
Yeah,
it's
and
just one of those things where I don't give a fuck.
Right.
You
Right.
know, what people
And I
think
still,
of me, what
Yeah,
they,
see-
I just do what I do. And
I
so
have-
I've never had that
there's a
issue.
lot of me, like, now I'll still show that I don't care too much. But there are some moments where I'm like, oh, I really kind of care that this person doesn't like me right now. Or, like, sometimes it comes up still.
Well, I think that let's decipher something here. I mean, I care about what people think,
Right.
but I can't change their minds.
See,
So
I'm the opposite sometimes.
I
want
say,
them
hey,
to change their
accept
mind.
me who I am.
Right.
And if you don't,
For the
then
most part, I'm that way. But there are some moments where it's like, well, I got to fix this. I got to make it better. It's like, no, you don't. You don't have to do that. If they don't like you, they don't like
so
you.
do you do that on the ramp? Try to make
Sometimes.
people like you?
Sometimes. Not all the time, but occasionally. Mainly with people I have been close with, I am friends with. I try to make sure it's always
Well, yeah, you always want to
copacetic.
keep that.
Right.
Friends are friends.
Right.
But let's say there's somebody who's not a friend. Would you try
It
to win
depends.
them over?
I try to. If I've never met... not so much anymore.
I can
When I
throw
first
some,
started,
I
I
can throw
used
some
to.
examples your way. But I won't.
Right.
Now, how does Cassie?
She knows everything.
But how is she with it? She cool?
She's fine. She's not usually a jealous person, so she's pretty good in that aspect.
Yeah.
She just doesn't like details. So, like, if I say a specific person, like I see somebody pop up or something, and I say that person, she don't want to know that.
Right.
She knows I did it. She knows my past. She's had her own past, too.
Right. Well, that's just that's
Right.
the way life is.
Right.
That's,
And I mean, that's the reason her and I met anyway. Like, that whole idea. Because porn led into swinging. We met a guy, and me and my ex were swingers for 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So is this 3 years after the porn?
After.
So
After.
for 6 years, you guys were.
Yeah.
You-
I was essentially single, and I had a roommate, is how I look at it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's how I truly am. At the time, I thought that's who I was. But now that I met Cassie, it's like, nope.
Now the swinging side, where you like swapping partners,
Yeah.
threesomes, foursomes,
Pretty much.
moresomes, whatever.
Yeah. Orgies, everything.
Yeah.
I had to go on my own dates. That's how I met Cassie. I went on a date with Cassie. I met her on Tinder. It wasn't fun.
What do you mean you had to go on your own dates? So you were dating this girl, but you were kind of she
So,
was
like, we
doing
would
her thing, you were doing your thing.
Yeah, we would go out
And then when you go
some
out,
nights. Yeah, I mean, if she has a couple guys she was friends with, she would go hang out with, and I'd go find somebody. I mean, it led no more than basically fucking go home.
really.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
Cassie's the only one that made me work for it, and I'm still pissed at her for it.
why?
Everybody else knew what I was looking for, and I made it abundantly clear to Cassie that that's what I wanted. And she still made me take her out to dinner and, like, convince her to come back to my place. I'm like, I haven't done this in 5 years. I don't know how to do that anymore.
And so you must have passed it. You must
I-
have been the romantic one that
Although she did
led
say,
her back.
I have a tattoo above my dick that says perfect weapon. Like, right.
That's way too much information
No,
for me.
so I had a picture on Tinder of like a towel right there, right? And so she could only see a little bit of it. But I would refuse to tell girls what it said because they had to go see for themselves. That was my like go-to move. And she basically told me a couple weeks ago actually that she was guaranteeing that she was coming back with me just so she could see that.
Wow.
I'm like, so you made
there's a
me
trick.
work for no reason.
Well,
Still
there's
salty.
nothing wrong with a little work.
No, I don't.
You know,
I didn't
there's
like putting in the
nothing
work
wrong
at the
with
time.
that.
Now I don't mind it, but at the time I hated it.
Well, the thing with the tattoo though is it never will leave you.
That's fine.
So at some point,
I
when
look
you're
at my
like
tat-
65,
Yeah.
it ain't gonna be the perfect weapon.
Well, it might not be, but it'll still say it is.
Or 70, or how old you are. But then you got the little blue pill that you can
Exactly.
fire that
It
weapon
works.
up. It's like a little fuel for that missile.
Pretty much.
You know,
Which, by the way, that stuff works. I love that shit.
you do, huh?
Yeah, I've had to use it a few times. It's fantastic.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't
It's
disagree
just
with that.
goddamn expensive.
Well, it is expensive.
Yeah.
And it's. You know how they found that out? It was going to be
Was it supposed to be for heart
a heart
medication?
Yeah, to
That's
slow
how I
the
used to
heart
get
rate.
it. Is a
And
lady I was friends with.
They were all getting heart
Yeah.
attacks from it.
I got it. Only reason I would get it, like the pill, the girl and this woman that I knew in the swinging lifestyle, she had a heart problem, so she was prescribed Viagra for her heart.
No way.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So she would like just give them to me whenever I want. If I just asked, she'd here you go, because she just could get a prescription and it was a medical use, so it was all covered.
Wow. So you were using insurance-covered Viagra.
Yeah, it worked. Not that I had a problem with it,
So,
but if you're gonna go for
How
6
old were
straight
these
hours,
chicks that you were banging? Like
Well,
in the 60s?
we were God no,
70s?
fuck no.
I mean, come on,
man. I
how
don't do no
many-
granny porn.
How many young people have
There
heart
weren't a
issues?
lot. There weren't a lot of young people. We only got into the swinging lifestyle because of it. My ex's, she met somebody through a guy we knew in porn.
Yeah.
He's a drummer for some band. But he introduced us to this girl that he knew who lives in Minnesota. So her and my ex became best friends. And she was in that swinging lifestyle. So that's how we got into that. So she was my age. And after that, there weren't a whole lot of young people. I mean, they weren't old. They were like 30s, 40s. Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
And for the most part, we kind of hung out with the crowd that took care of themselves. It wasn't like the 40-year-old 220, you know? I mean, we had some rules.
Well,
She was a little more lenient on it because the guys could be in their 50s and look like they're 30, you know? Because
Sure.
like there was a guy we were friends with, and he was a marathon runner and ran 2 Ironmen, like, and he was in his 50s. Like,
right.
that guy's in better shape than I am. But like for me, it was 45 and younger, roughly. That's kind of what I looked at.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, Pat. Tell me more.
What do you want to know?
No, about the swinging. There has to be a story.
I do remember the time I realized, like I remember, well, you were telling me the story about in college where you like sit back and look at what you're doing, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck am I doing? This is awesome. I remember like that moment. I was sitting there and it was me and a guy, and it was his birthday party, and we had like, it was my ex, his girlfriend, or wife, whatever it was. Yeah, he had a wife and a girlfriend, so they were both there, and then we had some other girls there. There were like 6 girls and him and I. And I like had to go grab some water, and I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. Like, I literally don't have to ask if I can fuck anyone. I can just, oh, there's an open hole, I'm using that one.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Well, that's an interesting story there, Pat. And so there was 6 girls and 2 guys.
Yeah.
Now, have you tried to get Cassie involved
No.
in this?
I'll never do that again. I don't think. The only thing we would maybe do is maybe a threesome with another girl, but that may be the only thing. And that's up to her. That's entirely her idea anyway. I've pretty much...
You've let that lifestyle go?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just not for me. Like, if I have to think about her with somebody else, it drives me nuts.
Right.
Like, I can't do that. And that's what tells me she's the one for me. Because I could do that with my ex, no problem. Like, oh yeah, you go out, I'll go do whatever.
Yeah.
But not with Cassie. It's like, nope, this is the one I want.
She's yours?
Yep.
Is that how you look at it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. So you're a
It's
little
a new
possessive?
feeling for me, though. A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a jealous type, which is weird. From somebody that was in porn and
To be
swinging.
jealous.
I'm a jealous person. I'm very jealous.
Well, with the right person, maybe.
Right.
Maybe that's it.
Right. That's what I think it is.
Yeah. Well, the other story I wanted to talk to you about is that you recently finally got to use your passport.
I did.
And for
I finally got the
for
passport.
somebody like that's been working at an airline like you have, I find that difficult to believe that you've never been out of the country.
Well, I just didn't have a lot of time with, for a while it was, I just was busy with the other stuff, and then my ex didn't really have any desire to, so
So what
we
about
didn't go.
Paris? Did you like it?
I loved Paris. I took French for...
You know, there's a lot of swinging clubs in Paris.
I
Probably.
know there are. I'm pretty sure there
Pretty
are.
sure there
That's what's keeping me away from Amsterdam.
are. I might have to take you.
That's
to
just like
Amsterdam.
calling my name. Cassie
Yeah.
said I'm not allowed to go to Amsterdam with you. I'm only allowed to go to Amsterdam with her.
Really?
She doesn't
Why
trust
not
me.
me?
I don't know. She doesn't trust me, I
She's
guess.
never met me.
Well,
I am just.
I don't think it's you per se.
lily
I
white
think
person. Oh, you should go to those.
the only thing I didn't like about Paris is how fast paced it was. Like, there was like the touristy stuff. Obviously, I'm expecting that to be fast, but we were like in the northwestern part of the city where it was pretty much Paris. It wasn't a lot of tourist stuff, not a lot of English being spoken there, and it was still just everybody's go go go. Like, the restaurants were fine. You didn't get pushed out, which we need to adopt that.
That's funny you say
I
that.
love that.
Because in Prague, Olga was saying, it's so cool that nobody pushes us out. We can
Yeah.
have conversation
Right.
afterwards. We can talk. You have to basically beg them for your check.
Yeah,
You know,
I loved that.
and it is great.
Because we went to Perkins the other day for breakfast, and we got asked, I'm not kidding you, by 4 different people within a 1-minute span, how is everything? I'm like, I was fine the last time somebody came over.
Well, what are you going to do about it? I mean, they're pushed this customer
Right, they
service,
have
but
to.
they've lost focus of what customer service
Right.
is.
Well, and like, even when you were in Paris, the restaurants weren't full. They were so it's not like they were needed to move people out.
Right.
Yeah, I loved that I wasn't forced to leave.
Yeah,
I could just
it's
hang out
beautiful,
there.
and it's fun. I mean, if you want to have an extra drink or if you want to just
Mhm.
relax, you can do that.
Right, because we met I had a foreign exchange student in high school from France, so we met him in Paris for one
Okay.
night. And him and I and his wife and Cassie, all four of us, we sat at lunch for like 3 hours just
Yeah.
talking. And there was I think we talked to the person that worked there 3 times. We would just be like, oh yeah, we'll have another one.
Well, that's
Like, we
good.
just drank for 3 hours. It was great.
So, what are your plans for your next 5 years? What do you got planned up, cooked in your brain, or are you just living day
I'm
to
pr-
day?
I tend to live day to day. I don't usually have a big. Well, I was just telling Cassie this today because I had a busy day scheduled. I had a bunch of plans all figured out, and nothing went right. None of the plans this morning went the way they were supposed to. And I'm like, this is why I don't make plans, because shit goes wrong if you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, nothing goes wrong.
Well,
That's how I've lived my life.
see, now I disagree with that. I like
Do you?
I like having.
Cassie we have a calendar, and she writes everything we do every day. That way we know. I'm like, I never had a calendar in my
I
life.
can't do calendar. It's all in my head.
Yeah, I've never had a calendar in my
I
life.
can't do that. Even like on a cell phone, I can't even keep
I
track
can't.
of it.
I'm really bad at like plans. I just don't, because then they fall through. A lot of my plans just fall through, and then I'm like bummed about that my plans didn't happen. So now I just don't make plans. But in the next 5 years, well, obviously I'm getting married, so that's kind of a big one.
Yeah, kind of.
Our plan is a little bit. Our plan is to move out of state at some point.
Oh, see, you got plans. What are you talking about?
Well, it's just
Are
tentative.
you going to go like New York City, Nashville?
No, she wants Nashville, but I've never been there, and I don't know how work's gonna do well. But I've also been kind of maybe thinking Atlanta too, because the city of Atlanta is awesome, I guess. Like the outside, if you get, an hour out of the city, you're basically in the South, and it's not like a big city anymore.
Well, what's a northern boy going to be doing down in Atlanta?
I don't know.
You're going to try to work for Delta Airlines
I
down
have
there?
no idea. I don't know what I'm gonna do. We're kind of working on the wedding now, and then we'll figure out the move. Because we were supposed to. She had a plan before she met me. She was moving in a year, and that was it. Nothing was going to change her plans. She didn't want to get married till she was 30. She didn't want to have kids till she was 30. Nothing. She wanted to be moved a year after. And now we're still here 2 years after that.
You're going to stay. You'll be
No,
good.
no.
You'll be
I got to
good.
be out. This winter sucks.
You'll be taking Peter Zenner's spot on Delta's
Yeah,
ramp.
Hell no.
You'll be the...
I don't think I'm
boss
good
man.
for that job.
No?
I don't think so.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? So what do you like about the job? What turns you on about it? Because you've spent a lot of time at your job. I mean,
Right.
as most people do. And
Right.
You got to like it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, you should quit.
I bitch a lot when we're at work, but I love my job. I've always loved my job. I don't know why. I think it's just because the airplanes. When I was a kid, my mom worked for the airline, so I've always been around airplanes. And anytime I see one, I get excited. Like, I love it. I love watching airplanes, so I think that's as close as I'm going to get. Because I'm never going to fly one. I don't have that desire to fly an airplane.
Is that a perfect weapon?
What?
An airplane.
I don't know. I still don't know how that shit works. Watching one of those wide bodies take off, it's like, how? Like, I get the physics behind it,
Yeah.
but it
So
just
big and
looks
heavy.
odd that it shouldn't be a thing. You know what I mean?
Right. It's cool. It is cool. I
Yeah.
can tell you that. One of the things I also wanted to talk to you about is this motorcycle that you got.
Oh, yeah.
What's the
I
plan?
didn't ride it today.
What's
I
the
was
plan?
going to just to bug you because I know what you
I-
called it out of spite.
It's a flamethrower.
Yeah,
That's an
that is.
Because it's got these orange flames
Yeah.
going up and down.
Yes, it
the
does.
side. Why? What kind of bike is it? And then,
It is a 2007 Honda Shadow Sabre.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why did you buy a Sabre?
Well,
the Shadow.
her bike is a Spirit, a couple years older than that one, so it's a Honda, and it's just a good bike to start out with, I guess. Her dad found it.
How big is it?
It's a 1100.
Okay.
So it's a big
It's
bike,
A big bike.
but he said you're gonna have to ride it anyway, so you might as well learn how to ride on a big one because you're just gonna buy it. You know
Now,
what I
does
mean?
her family have all of them have
Her
bikes?
parents
and
are
they
all
go- they're
Harley
all-
folks. Yep. So Cassie's next purchase is gonna be a Harley, so she's looking.
Well,
But-
if she gets a Harley, she's going to have to get a tattoo right above her snatch there.
Oh, yeah?
What would you call that?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
No?
make names for that.
No?
No.
Or do you have names? You're not just going to.
No, I really don't. I've never been that person. I don't get it.
No.
No, it's just the hole that I use, I guess. I don't know.
Wow. And this is the woman you're going to marry.
Yeah, I love her.
Jesus Christ, man. You're killing me.
I love her.
Now, one of the things I like about you is that we banter a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's just back and forth.
Yeah. And none of it's serious.
No, but some people don't get that.
Right. I love it we can do it in front of other people that don't understand it.
They
The
don't
look on
get
their
it.
face.
Like, oh
Oh,
did you say
God.
that?
Shit's going to happen.
no, and I don't understand why people don't understand that.
I heard something at work the other day. I don't remember who said it, but they said you can't have feelings at this job. And I don't think I've ever heard a more true statement about that place. Ever. Because I've cussed out my boss, and the 10 minutes later we're like, oh yeah, we're fine. Like, it just goes away.
And so if people do have feelings,
They ain't going to last
they
very
get
well.
butt hurt?
Yeah, they're not going to last very long.
Really?
I mean, you can tell there's some people we work with that there are definitely people that work there that have feelings and they struggle with that, especially how we talk to each other. Because how
Right.
we talk is pretty normal out there.
Well, it's there's no other job that I've
No,
think of that
No.
is that
Right.
brutal.
my little brother is in the Navy and he worked out there for a year before, and he's like, it's the same thing on a ship. It's pretty much sailor talk.
Right.
Like you
Well, that's
basically
what it
rip
is.
into each other, and none of it's real. It's just you're fucking with each other.
Right. And it's fun. I mean,
Mhm.
but there's some people you just can't do it with
No.
because they don't get the
Right. The
humor, or
jokes-
they get too serious.
They think it's
and-
serious and they don't understand that you're just messing with them. It's
Right.
funny.
well, it's I go back to some of those jokes we have, like 220 and
Right.
some of those things that it's a constant yuck. We
Yeah.
laugh at it all the time.
Right.
And
It's too bad though, because like, if people took life a little less serious, the world would be a lot better place.
that's true. It's people get too wound up.
It's
Especially
true.
like you see these social media sites now where
I'm like this close to getting rid of all of them.
yeah,
I'm so close.
why though? I mean, because there's so much good humor in there.
I know. That's why I don't get rid of
I
it.
just
There's just a lot.
You know what I mean?
You
It's
should have heard
actually
at
life.
work yesterday when Trump landed in town.
I was there.
I know. People were pissed.
Yeah.
I was up in the terminal. People were pissed. It's like Obama did this all the time. Bush did it all the time. Everybody does it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
So you're saying it's specific to Trump?
Well, everybody was mad that he was there, and it's like, it's not Trump's fault he's here. Every president we've ever had has flown into here. At least in the 8 years that I've worked at the airline. We've shut
and
down.
You thought other people, like the other presidents, weren't like
Nobody ever
diminished.
complained. You know what I mean?
Well, you either love him or hate him.
Right. And I totally get why people hate him. I get it. I totally understand it. Because some of the stuff he has said and done is...
Well, he's an ass
Wait.
clown. Let's be honest.
He's definitely an ass clown.
He's
But what do you expect? What did you expect? Thinking about a white guy in his 60s. What did you think he thought?
well, that's true, but he's also a New Yorker. He's also
Again.
got money.
Right.
So you add it up, and I think basically he has
Well, it's
used
just-
the system.
When everything he
To
says,
avoid-
people are like, can you believe he said that? Yes. Yes, I can. You have to, like, it's not shocking that he's an ass. That doesn't shock me at all.
Well, how about his politics?
I don't follow it enough.
You don't follow.
I don't
it?
follow politics that much. Because I avoid...
No, I felt in a
That's why I don't talk a lot about politics, 'cause I don't know enough. I don't like to talk about
Did
stuff.
you vote?
Yeah, I did vote.
Okay.
I just don't...
You should educate yourself though before you. Do
Yeah, I
vote. I mean that's.
I've tried... And when it comes closer to
Small
the
little
election,
thing
I
you should
definitely
do.
do
Okay.
a little more
I voted
research.
for Trump because I couldn't vote for Hillary. I
couldn't vote for
not
Hillary.
vote for.
I didn't
her.
vote for you either.
Now, if it was Joe Biden, maybe I could have
Right.
probably been swayed to go Biden's way.
Right.
But I just couldn't.
I couldn't vote for either. I couldn't do either.
Yeah.
I had to vote. I mean, I know everybody's like, well, you're the reason Trump is in because you voted.
No, the Democratic Party is the reason because they couldn't
They
put
put
up
a bad
good
candidate.
And even Bernie Sanders would have been trampled on.
I think Bernie would have done better. I think he
Well,
would have done better.
Well, I don't know what about better means because Hillary actually won the popular vote.
It's true.
So
I just don't know.
she just didn't.
Hillary's a made guy, as Bill Burr would say.
Made guy.
I follow Bill Burr more than anything on this planet.
Do you?
Yeah, I love everything he has to say. Is something I agree with. Like
Really?
Hillary is like he said. Hillary is a made guy. She'll do everything.
Well, you know what a made guy is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
That's absolutely what I thought every time I'd see her.
Well,
I
So-
thought her husband was awesome. I thought Bill was great. I've
you
done some more research. I did more research when I got older, just because
Yeah.
I wanted to know what I missed. Because everybody I talked to actually liked him.
Well, except for the Republican Party.
Yeah,
But
it's true.
that's where all the bad politics really started, was back with Bill Clinton and
Yeah.
Newt Gingrich and that whole Monica Lewinsky thing, and they got
Yeah,
this
it's-
Ken Starr, and they tried to, get him out of office. But
Right.
the
It's just-
reality is that, people are going to make mistakes and do stupid shit, and,
Right.
I mean, look at you.
We've all done stupid
Yeah,
shit.
I mean, it's just one of those things where Bill Clinton probably was over the top with his womanizing and things like that. But
Yeah, well, wouldn't you if you were married to Hillary? That's a
yeah,
scary woman.
That's it's got teeth in it. That's what
Ugh.
you should.
That's a movie.
Teeth.
Teeth. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh.
Yeah, my
Porno
ex showed
movie?
it to me. It's on. Huh?
Is
No,
it
it's a
porno?
real movie. I think it's on Netflix actually.
See, the
It's
teeth I can imagine is that they're pointed one way, so it goes in, but when it comes out, it just shreds.
Yeah, I think that's how it was.
Was it?
Yeah, it's like an
Never
old
heard
school
of it.
TV horror movie.
Really?
I saw one scene.
Where are the teeth located?
Where do you think they're located?
So that's where they're
Oh
located?
yeah.
I can't believe I haven't heard of that movie.
Yeah, my ex turned it on once and I was watching. I'm like, first scene it happened, and I was like, I'm done. Nope.
That's like a Twilight Zone movie.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
that's
actual
kinda-
movie. That's an actual thing.
Wow, never knew that.
Kind of like
I'll have to check it out.
between that and the Human Centipede. I don't know which one is the worst one.
I've never heard of that.
You've never
one.
heard of the Human Centipede either?
No.
Oh god, don't watch that one.
Oh, jeez.
It's like this mad scientist takes 3 people and like sews their mouth to the person's ass and makes a centipede.
Oh, I've seen that.
That's
one.
so gross
That
and
is
so
the worst.
fucked up.
That is. I have seen that.
That's
one.
so messed up. And they made a second one.
I don't think I actually made it through that.
No,
whole
God
fucking
no.
thing, 'cause
Again,
it's
like
just-
10 minutes in, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah,
this is so bad.
This is stupid. So let me ask you another question. As you plan on riding your motorcycle,
Yeah.
are you concerned about safety or anything like that?
A little bit.
Because I, won't
It's
ride a motorcycle
definitely
because of that.
My mom had her permit when I was younger, and like, I think she was really close to buying one. She had test driven a few. I think one of her friends or like her coworker, husband, somebody died that she knew and left some kids behind, and that like broke her heart, and so she stopped. And I have had a couple of friends die on you taking a picture?
Yeah.
And I've had a couple of friends die on a motorcycle actually.
Yeah.
Guy I wrestled with in high school did, and a couple others, and it's always in the back of my mind, that's for sure.
Well, what's the draw? Cassie's family and
Well,
being
that
out
helped,
with
but
them?
I've always wanted one. I've always wanted a motorcycle,
Okay.
and so her parents definitely helped her and her parents having one. But I'm also like, if I don't do this and I die tomorrow in my car, what's the point of, you know what I mean? Like, I could die tomorrow. I could die driving to buy the motorcycle. Yeah, it probably ups the ante a little bit, but I drive my motorcycle the same way I drive my car.
And
Like,
how is that?
on the bike, they tell you just to assume nobody sees you. You know what I mean? Nobody's paying attention to you. Everyone's an ass. That's how I drive my car. I don't think anybody on the road sees me. Everybody's got their own agenda. And everybody's distracted.
I don't. I'm a very aggressive.
I'm a very aggressive driver. I'm not defensive at all. But I also know that people don't pay attention.
Well, why is that? Because they're on their
Distraction.
phones.
I don't know. I'm guilty of being distracted too. Anything can happen.
Well, I don't think that a motorcycle though. It's not like a vehicle. You can get in a badass accident
Right.
in a car and survive.
Right.
You can't with a motorcycle.
Not really.
Or, I mean, you can, but
It's
so much.
It's definitely,
riskier.
when I was younger, I think I was like 10 or 12, we were on a road in Laconia or something. It was just a 2-lane road, 55 miles an hour or whatever, and we hit traffic. And it was like stopped. And we
Really?
finally made it through, and then we realized there's an accident. And I'm not shitting you, a semi had tipped. I don't know how it happened, I don't know the whole story. But the semi was on top of a biker.
Oh.
And all I saw as a 12-year-old, his feet sticking out. Like under the trailer.
And you can still see that.
I was
in your
12.
mind.
I can still picture that. But I
So what
still
was
want to
it-
do it.
What was the 12-year-old doing on a motorcycle?
No. What? What do you mean? No. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So
That's-
tell me about Cassie.
What do you
Or
want
is
to know?
that a
This
dangerous
lady.
subject for you?
No, it's not dangerous at all. Because I just talked to somebody the other day about her for like 20 minutes.
Now, how has she captivated your heart?
Such a. I don't use this word, but that was really gay.
Yeah. I'm trying to make it kind of sound that way.
Yeah. I don't know, like, because my phone popped up and her picture came up, and someone was like, that's your girl? And that's the reaction everybody looks when they see a picture of her. And that's my reaction every time I see a picture of her. I'm like, how did I do that? It's like my greatest world accomplishment.
Really?
Yeah. She's so far out of my league, it's unbelievable.
Then what does she see in you?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Apparently I'm a sweet guy.
You're
According to
a sweet
her.
guy?
I don't see it.
Well, you probably have a side that you don't show anybody
That's true.
but her.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. She's awesome. She definitely calmed me down a lot from my past, and I thank her for that every day.
Well, that's nice.
I've learned that rather quick. You have
Oh,
to
no,
always
it's-
try
yeah,
when it
it's-
comes to a
if you give
relationship.
up,
A
they'll
good
give
one.
up, you know.
Yep.
And not they'll give up, it's just that it will change everything.
Well, I mean,
The
why
dynamic.
should they give a fuck if you don't give a fuck?
Well, yeah, exactly. You know. But why would you even be in a relationship if you don't give a fuck?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it sounds like you were in one.
I mean, I
for-
was in one for quite a while. We were together almost 8 years.
Now, were you engaged to her?
We were
you...
technically engaged, but it was such a bullshit.
What do you mean
proposal.
technically?
I mean, I
How did you
proposed.
propose?
It was so bullshit. I didn't buy a ring. It was like last minute.
What'd you do? Get like a bread thing and twist it together?
I had like some.
Say, here, will you marry me?
I had some like some. My mom said it was some family ring, but it wasn't like a good one. Like it was. It looked like it came out of a fucking marble machine or something stupid. And then we were
And she said
engaged.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know why. We were engaged for like 4 years, and then we broke up.
And why didn't you ever tie the knot?
I don't know. I always made excuses for it.
Did she make excuses too?
Yeah, but I'm just starting to think that maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Obviously, like
So, how did you get this tattoo? The perfect weapon. I
so
mean,
it's a song title of a band I used to listen to, and my ex made a joke. Like, wouldn't that be funny? I say she did, but I may have made the joke. I don't remember. Somebody made the joke of, or one of her friends, somebody made a joke about, wouldn't it be funny if that was tattooed above a dick? And like the next day, I was like, yeah, it would be funny. I'm gonna do that. The way I look at tattoos is, it's either got everything on me has either a good memory or a story, or it's gonna make me laugh.
you got a bunch of tattoos?
I got a few. 5?
Really?
Yeah.
See, I don't have any. I've never been drawn to that.
No, I love them.
You know.
I can't
I've
wait to
been
get
drawn.
more.
But
They're addicting as all hell, though. You get one, you're not gonna stop.
yeah, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
But the perfect weapon. I mean, what do you have to do? I had to hurt like fuck, man.
That didn't hurt like at all. That
Oh.
wasn't the worst. My side one was the worst. I
Really?
actually teared up for that one. That
Oh.
one. It was like, it's just words. It's the Rocky quote when he's talking to his son. Have you ever seen the Rocky movies?
Yeah, but I can't actually. What does the
So
quote
the
say?
newest one, not newest one, but he talks to his kid about how the world isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean and nasty place, and it'll beat you to your knees if you let it. I got that quote tattooed on my side because that's how I look at life. That the world's not pretty,
Really?
and if everything I've gone through with depression and all that, like if I ever get down, I'd just go look in the mirror and it brightens my day a little bit.
All right. What
But
are the
that
other
hurt.
tattoos?
I got a cross on my arm. I'm not religious at all, but I got it for my grandma when she died. When
was
I was
religious?
Yeah, when I was 16, I got that. And then I have a star on my calf. I think you've
Oh,
seen that work.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
My little brother used to draw them a lot when he was younger, and he was in the hospital with some really serious disease. So I went and got one tattooed on my leg. And then I have a mat rat on my back. So it's like a muscular rat. Yeah.
Is it like your whole back?
Nope, just my shoulder blade.
Oh, okay.
That, and it's on a wrestling circle. It's not very well done because I got the wrestling circle, the mat, done first, and then I got the rat done on top of it. So it's not well done, but
Well,
it costed like $60 total, and I never see it.
so
So,
none of these are just spur of the moment. Besides the perfect weapon.
not really. I mean, they were like the star was spur of the moment. Like it was like I was at school one day and said, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this," but there's a reason behind. I've helped a few. I've watched 2 girls few years ago get hit by a car at like 2 o'clock in the morning by like a 60-mile-an-hour drunk driver. Helped them.
What? Put a blanket over them?
They were alive.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, they got just smoked.
How can you be alive after that?
I don't know. It's unbelievable, and it was like 10 degrees. It was freezing. And
Well,
I
that
remember,
might have helped him stay alive.
yeah, but there was a guy behind me, so I knew, like, stabilized, made sure they didn't move and everything, and yeah, made sure the guy didn't
Did you-
leave because he was getting ready to leave.
911.
Yeah, well, I had somebody else do that while I tended to them.
What were the injuries that they had?
I think one of them had some sort of brain bleed, I think. And I don't know, the other one seemed to walk away fine.
After getting hit 60
Yeah,
miles an hour?
I'm
man?
not kidding, it was 60 miles an hour.
What'd she do? Hit the fly in the air and land on her feet?
One of them, so they were walking side by side, and this Jeep's coming up the exit ramp, and he hits both of them just dead on. One of them, like, ricocheted off.
They were walking,
They were walking.
and he hit him at 60 miles an
Yeah,
hour.
just blew right through a light. And one hit dead on the right in the center of the fucking bumper, and she went just beeline straight for the other side of the intersection. He hadn't even hit his brakes yet. And then the other one caught the side, like the wheel well of the Jeep, and like kicked off towards my car. And that one that kicked off walked away. Like, how? How did you do that?
Jesus. So, the guy that was drunk tried to get...
Yeah,
leave
so
the
he was
scene?
like freaking out. Obviously, you could tell something was wrong. He was like panicking. He was like, I didn't think I had a green light. I'm like, no, you didn't. I was at the same light. Like, I know it wasn't green. I watched you. And he was like, I gotta get out of here. And he starts getting to his car, and I grabbed him and slammed him against the car and said, you don't fucking move until the fucking cops get here. And he sat right there on the floor. He was so scared. I must have terrified him because he sat and he didn't move. The cop goes, why was he sitting on the floor? I'm like, because that's where I told him to sit. And he stayed right there.
Really?
Yeah, he was terrified.
Well,
But I think
did you have to go testify in court? Or
I had
anything
it was
that?
like a paper one. I did it over the
Took your
phone.
sworn
Yeah, I
statement.
did the statement over the phone. Then they
Whatever
mailed it to me
happened
and I
him,
signed
you
it.
know?
I think he got out. I think he went away for like 30 days only.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't think it was his first one either. So I'm kind of surprised.
Did you keep in contact with the girls?
No, they were from China actually. They were at the U for school, and I just didn't care to really check in after that.
So
Like,
Chinese girls get run over.
parents
by
live in China.
America
They
drunk.
live in America, and it was an American Jeep just smoked them.
Jeez, you couldn't make that up.
No.
You can't.
In college, we went to Augsburg for the Augie Open, and they had Jason Ness there, who is a national champion for the Gophers, and he was hurt, so he was like a warm-up tournament
Okay.
before he went back to the team. And this is the year that he broke the Gophers record in pins and won his first national title in the last 10 seconds of the match. He lost like one match throughout the entire year. Just this unbelievable athlete. And I'm walking out and I'm like, oh fuck, first match. And I look at the board and I see Ness and I'm like, son of a bitch. This is my first college wrestling tournament and I get matched up against arguably the best wrestler
Maybe
in the country,
world.
in the world, at least in college wrestling.
How'd you fare?
I walked out there, didn't warm up, didn't bounce around, I didn't do any of it. I'd usually go fuck off in the corner, wouldn't talk to anybody, be quiet. I was just bullshitting with everybody. I sat in the stands. I'm like, this is going to be a quick one. You watch. And I walked out there and I shook his hand. He said, all right, let's shake hands. I'm like, it's nice to meet you. I talked to him. I was totally just nonchalant. And as he pins me, and I'm like, he'd pinned me in the first period. Didn't last more than 30 seconds. I couldn't do anything. And I lay in there, and he put me in his half, and I looked at him, and I'm like, did you break a sweat? Like, while he's holding me down, I asked him if he broke a sweat, and he smiled and said no. I'm like, good.
He fucked you over, man.
So on his
That's good.
his record-setting pins, I was the first one on that list. I don't think you
Pat
can find the
Cox.
list, but in those numbers,
Well, I'm sure there
one.
is a list.
I don't know.
somewhere.
I haven't looked, but yeah, I'm in there. One of the first ones.
First match of your college career.
I was
you
like,
get
wow,
pinned.
I suck.
Well, at least you got to wrestle somebody.
It was fun though. I really wish it would have lasted long. Like if it were a practice match where you could have just kept going.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole other level of skill just to watch. You could have learned so much from wrestling somebody like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you think you're good until you go
Right.
against somebody
I was
who's
coming from
good.
a club level where we wrestled Division III guys.
You were wrestling a girl.
She was
right?
good though.
I know she
The only
was
reason
good.
she had offers.
I'm not
for,
saying she's not
Right.
good, but there's a difference between
well, they
the
wouldn't allow her.
speed
Right.
and the strength
Right.
of a guy at
Right.
the same weight class.
Right. But yeah,
You know, it's just.
I wasn't even embarrassed. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious.
Well, nothing to be embarrassed.
I got the
about.
tape somewhere. I told somebody to tape it because I wanted to see how fast it would go.
You should get that.
I gotta find out where it
You
went.
should get that because I'd love.
Because
to
I
see
watch it and I laugh every time. I'm like,
That's fucking
God
funny.
damn, I got my ass kicked.
All right, man.
I was once out strolling one very hot summer's day when I thought I'd lay myself down to rest.